What's up guys, welcome to Daily Refinement. Today's video we're going to talk about mastering your niche. It's really one of the most important parts of running a successful store is being knowledgeable in whatever it is you sell. So today I'm here with John Barreto. We're actually setting up 500 t-shirts for a stream on Whatnot. And he is a true expert. He loves everything about vintage, knows everything about vintage. And if you want to be successful and you want to build your network, you want to build your Rolodex of networking and knowledge of the brands, you really need to get into one category. So I myself, I'm more thrift and contemporary. So you guys will see how far out of my element I am selling this type of stuff, even though it's in the same category of clothing. So make sure you watch all the way to the end of the video. We'll see you guys inside. All right guys, so you know on my channel I always preach that you should stick in one niche. So we have John Barreto, he's from Fully Laced and Vintage Deadstock. He's gonna go over a little bit about how he got into vintage. We did a deal for 1,600 shirts. You can reach out to John as well, he's got more. And I just wanted to know a little bit about how you got into vintage. I know you know a lot about it, but that didn't happen overnight.
No, I've been doing vintage for over 20 years. I mean, it's like I started off in streetwear, and vintage kind of goes hand in hand with fashion and streetwear. I had a brick and mortar retail store for a long time. And you know, what the thing with vintage is like fashion's like cyclicals, like what's vintage 10 years ago when people may not have necessarily been into all this stuff is vintage now. Stuff that I passed on buying 15 years ago is stuff that I'm paying 50 bucks a tee for now. So it's pretty funny. Like vintage encompasses a lot of different genres. And I was fortunate enough to do this big buyout that I'm sharing with Chris in basically all the genres that we have available, from like nature tees to music tees to like city tees, name brand tees. There's a lot of cool stuff. I'm excited for Chris to move some of this product with you guys.
So speaking as a fish out of water, when you enter in a new niche, there's so much to learn. So like from a basic standpoint, how does somebody know it's vintage? If they want to get more into it, should they just start buying online, get in the community, go on Instagram? How would you learn about single stitch versus not, band tees, rock tees?
That's always the question. Like first, like what's vintage, right? Is it 20 years? Is it true vintage, 30 years, 40 years? Is it 10 years? Is it before you were born, right? But I mean, I always start with like the graphic. If it's a cool graphic and I like it, I'm gonna buy it, whether it's vintage or not, right? But then you look at the tag. This one's like Winterland. A lot of times people look for made in USA. Some people look for like a single stitch, which this is. You look at the date and the copyright date on the tee. That one's Winterland and 1996 Primus. So this is a 90s piece. It's funny because like a lot of the stuff that we have is from Winterland, but a lot of people know Winterland only for like rock tees. But people don't know that they did stuff for name brands like Tommy Hilfiger and Nike and Disney and like Universal Studios. So as you see some of the product that Chris and I have curated for you, you'll see a pretty cool variety of some of the vintage stuff that Winterland's done outside of just the band tees, which everyone kind of thinks of them for.
So I have a couple of questions that always come up with vintage, which is like, how do you identify dry rot? Is it common? I know you did. If I told you earlier, you would have brought some, but I know mostly black shirts. Yeah. So there's a couple of ways to test for dry rot. It usually only happens with black tees. And the thing with dry rot is that it's like it really only happens with black tees because it's the acid in the dye from the shirt that isn't washed out after that first wash when someone buys a tee. And if it's sitting in a box for like 20 or 30 years, then it just slowly eats away at the tee. Sometimes like guys that have been doing it for a while, you can kind of just like go by feel or go by smell. The smell kind of comes off like a little bit sweet, like a syrup or something. But if I'm buying a shirt and it's dead stock, or even if I'm shopping at a thrift or something like that, I'll test in like an inconspicuous spot first. Or if you're shopping at someone's rack at like a vintage show, you don't just go up to the shirt and try to, you know, like Ultimate Warrior it or something like that, or Hulk Hogan and try to rip their shirt in half. You can go down over here, and then you kind of just go, like you use your nail and you kind of go for like a pull over here to see if it opens up. Sometimes people just go over here and give it like a pull behind the tag. Like the areas that are a little bit more like prone to an easy tear, you kind of go for those, right? Yep.
That'd be really embarrassing if I pull this and it tears in front of you. But this one's all good. All the stuff that Chris is selling has been tested already, QC.
So interesting stuff. You have done everything. You sell on eBay, you sell wholesale, you have the brick and mortar. You've had staff, you've had no staff, up to 15 employees.
Correct.
So what do you like the most? Do you like selling online now? Do you like wholesale?
I don't miss the drama of having 15 employees. Shout out to all my old Fully Laced employees. Love all you guys. But I don't miss the drama. I don't miss the scheduling. Don't miss the payroll. But I do miss the interaction on a daily basis. Yeah. That's always been fun. Working on my own in the warehouse, I probably talk to myself more than I talk to my kids and my wife. But you know, everything has its plus and minuses. I mean, some people love the brick and mortar retail space and they love the daily customer interaction. But personally, like, I don't love the overhead. I mean, I'm at a point in my life where time's my most valuable asset. And the thing with having a brick and mortar retail store is that you're always, like, someone always has to be there. Someone's always touching your money. And, you know, this would be a 2-hour long conversation, but yeah. You know, if the opportunity came again, who knows? Maybe we'd open up another store or partner up with someone. For now, I like the low overhead costs. I like the reach of web business. And, I mean, with the power of social, you can go from 0 to 100 overnight.
I think it's really amazing what you've done. And also, if you become a true expert in your niche, you can sell any type of model that you want. You could be wholesale. You have the chops to run any kind of model that you want. So whatever matches best for you in your life, there's more interaction having staff. It's a little bit more hands-off for maybe things that you don't necessarily want to do, but the payroll, the overhead, and being responsible for more than just yourself is very, very different. I was just telling John, a lot of vintage guys I know, they sell 5 shirts a week, and I don't know how they pay their bills, but they always have amazing stuff, but they only sell 5 things a month, it seems like. So I don't know how they eat, but then you go on the other side of the road where everything is streamlined and you're moving a lot of units, but then kind of soulless. So it's kind of a balance between that.
I think in the vintage community, a lot of guys doing just this tea business, it's a side hustle for their 9 to 5.
I see.
For guys doing a full-time, legit vintage business, then that group is still pretty difficult to be successful. It's really the top like 5 or 10%, like almost compared to like a lot of other industries that really know how to monetize and do business and make enough income to really like support like their family or lifestyle.
Yeah, it makes sense. So guys, we're gonna run this show on Friday. I'm gonna run 250 teas by myself. It's gonna be a learning experience for me as I learned as much as I can. Then hopefully John will come back if he has a little extra time and he'll run the auctions, because then you'll really learn about all these different tags, all the different materials, all the different graphics, maybe some more history behind it. And John's been doing this a long time. And again, you cannot replace experience with anything. You've got to put in the time, put in the work, meet the industry contacts. Most of these shirts came from 1 or 2 suppliers, right?
It came from one gigantic 100,000 piece buy, but that buy came from multiple suppliers. I bought out this company that has been buying closeout shirts and probably for the past 40 years.
Yeah, so just entering the game, sometimes the best stuff already goes to people who are already in the industry. Right. It'd be difficult to just happenstance upon 100,000 t-shirts. Pretty unlikely. Everyone,
like with the vintage community, everyone's looking for it's like digging for gold, right? Everyone's looking for the treasure. Yeah. When you shop in Goodwill, when you shop in the bins, we took out the hard work for you and we're giving you some value here, and you'll see some great stuff.
So we'll see you guys Friday. Stock up. We have everything preloaded so you can pre-bid, and we appreciate you guys. We're going to show you a little bit more behind the scenes footage, and we'll see you guys next time. Oh, actually, before we go, John, can you plug your store so people can find you?
Sure. You can find me on Instagram at VintageDS, or my other Instagram is at Fully Laced.
And we'll plug it earlier so other people can reach out to you as well.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Better.